welcome back to the live art request tutorial with Andy. And you remember you have to type in a request and I will draw live for you. Now yesterday we did Lara Croft as part of our gaming heroes, and I was teaching you a little bit about dramatic lighting. So today we're going to do Star Wars iconic cultural icons or characters. So let's start with Chewbacca, only because I have to wait a little bit for you to call in, and he really is my favorite character, and this will keep you all watching while we wait for people to be brave and to write in. So we're going to do his eyes first. And if you are a keen artist and you want to send your artwork in, please send it to the at quicktoddraw.co.uk and we'll add it to our gallery, which is building up nicely. So I'm doing the face of Chewbacca, and I think he really is everyone's favorite out of all the amazing characters from Star Wars. Oh, we've got one request coming in already. Let's see what we got. Ah, hello. We've got somebody writing in from Paris. How wonderful. Now, Chewbacca, actually the actor I know was British, and he worked in a hospital, and he carried on working in the hospital all his life. I do know that, even though he was part of one of the biggest cultural movies ever made. And another fact that I stumbled across was that Darth Vader obviously was a big character. I'm drawing the ammunition belts here, and then I'm also going to show you how to do fur, which is great fun and very easy. So yes, where was I? So Chewbacca, the actor, was going to be Darth Vader, and he was actually too tall. He was seven, I'm just trying to think, 7 feet 3 inches or something like that. And then the George Lucas decided to use him for Chewbacca, and they worked together on how to create this wonderful animal that didn't speak, and how he had this lovable. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink him right down so we can get him on there. And I've got to do the ammo, definitely. So he was this lovable character, and the actor who played him got his ideas from going to the London Zoo, which is all just gorgeous. So Darth Vader, I think, is 6'7" or something like that, and this guy is 7 feet. I love the toes here. He's actually. And also I read somewhere, I'm going to do the hair in a minute. I might make his head a bit bigger. I think he's got quite a big forehead. And we do want to get this right, because I know there's some Star Wars fans. Right, and oh, somebody's asked me, hello Bob, asked from Paris, has asked me to draw Princess Leia, which of course I'm going to do next. And I'm going to do all 3 of them on the same page this time. I'm going to add a layer under here, and I'm going to fill in this wonderful, he's quite orange. So I'm just going to do that as the base color. In fact, the belt, oops, I'll do this underneath. It's alright, I did this wrong. I'm supposed to drag that underneath. All right. At least you're all learning from my mistakes. Okay, so this wonderful orange color. And this time I'm going to go a little bit over the edges because we do want to get that fur effect. Fur is a funny thing to draw. It's actually a technique that is, let me just make this darker, based on slightly darker on the outside, on the edges, and coming lighter in the middle, and I'll show you what I mean. So, okay, I'm going to cheat a little bit. If you're working with your own sort of paintbrush or crayons, I'm actually blocking this if you're a Procreate user. Okay, so, but if you're working at home and you haven't got all this fancy kit, don't worry. Just, I'll hold your hand through the process. Just follow me by just coloring in only the edges, like this. I don't know if you can see that, how well you can see that. Okay. But I'm working very fast, so because we want to get Layla in there. I think we'll do her in a metal bikini for Bob. That is probably one of the most iconic outfits in cinema, alongside Marilyn Monroe's. Now, Carrie Fisher's mother, believe it or not, who was Debbie, I'm just trying to think what my, Carrie Fisher, I'm just trying to remember the mother. She was in Singing in the Rain, and I'll get her name in a minute. She owned, or still owns, I think, the estate owns the original dress from Marilyn Monroe. How do I know that? I don't know. You can see this is starting to look a bit more like fur now. And what I love in the detail when you're looking at some of these drawings close up is that Chewbacca has grubby knees. So I'm just going to draw his knees in here a little bit darker. He's actually quite patchy. There we go. And I'm just going to make it a bit darker there. So can you see he's, this is very rough, but you can see now that he is becoming more, I'm just going to color this in a little bit so we know that's his belt. Okay. So I am going to draw some more hair in detail. Just want to get some of this belt in here. The other thing about Carrie Fisher is that she was, I think, only 19. You're wondering how I know all this information. There's this wonderful, wonderful documentary you have to find on the making of Star Wars, and how all the trials and tribulations, and how it almost killed George Lucas financially and physically. Now I think it's a bit more, there's more orange. I might add a bit more orange here. There we go. I want a bit more light. So this is the trick. This is what I'm going to teach you now, is the putting in the hair details. Okay, so I'm keeping the markings quite rough. You can see now it's starting to really look like Chewbacca. He has these long strands. This is the important detail. And then he's a bit messy. Yeah, and so this documentary is fascinating. She was 19, Carrie Fisher, 19, and they show an old clip in this documentary of her doing the audition. And you think because Debbie Reynolds, because her mother, Debbie Reynolds, very famous actress, you can imagine Singing in the Rain. When she tried for the audition, I think they all thought, oh yeah, you know, someone's famous daughter. But really, you must see this audition, and you can see they just must have just dropped everything and just hired her on the spot. She really was a wonderful person, actress. She was even in the Blues Brothers, which is actually my favorite Carrie Fisher character, because she was a comedian as well. She was so versatile. Okay, so I think this is about as hairy as Chewbacca's going to get. And of course I mustn't forget the gun. So let's put in, I'm just going to unblock this now. And please send your artwork to us, because we'd love to see it, love to share it. We've got all age groups. And don't forget to write in now while I'm drawing any requests. So, right, I think that's pretty much it. I could go on forever and ever. Such a wonderful character. And I'm just going to do that little thing of highlights. Let's see if I can get that in his eyes. Might be too much. Let me just, it's a little bit creepy. Let me just go a little bit smaller, because he's actually got quite a frown. Let's get that frown in. Okay, so now we're going to put in a beautiful, talented Carrie Fisher. I'm just going to give her a window here and make sure I'm in the right pen. So Carrie Fisher, I'm going to put her in the bikini outfit, and she'll be sitting on the floor. So let's, now this time, thankfully she won't have the cinnamon bun hairstyle, because I think on the metal bikini she actually has her hair slicked back. This is a very light drawing of her, probably more of a fantasy cartoon, sort of like a 1950s style. And I remember when I look back watching the old movies now, how skinny she was. Tiny. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Oops, it's not a very flattering mouth, so I'm just gonna so young. And that whole scene with Jabba the Hutt, where he throws people into the pit, and that wonderful pet that he has. Okay, just going to give her, I think she needs a higher forehead. Okay, so I'm going to have the ponytail coming down here, and I think that's the closest I can get to her. I know that she had some kind of fancy gold things around her. There we go, that looks a bit better. Okay, and I think she was sitting like this. I know she was sitting sort of on her hip, and the funny bikini goes something like this. Not the most flattering bikini. Very hard to pull off. There we go. So I'm just going to make that look more anatomy-wise correct. Okay, so skinny, skinny, and then she had some kind of skirt thing on, and this ponytail, I do remember that. What other interesting facts? I suppose if you're a Star Wars fan, of course she was the twin of Luke Skywalker. I don't know if she ever knew Darth Vader was her father. I might have missed that bit. Just trying to think of anatomy. I'm guessing she wouldn't have had any shoes on. There we go. And then it came down like that. And then we'll make some reference to the chains. So she's a little bit big if we're going to do this group picture. And I think we've just had another request. There we go. Now I can't remember if the chain was, oh, I think it was round her neck. So there we go. Okay, so that's pretty simple little picture, but that's your request, so thank you very much. And I think we've been asked to do Han Solo, I think, to complement the final picture. So I'm actually going to make her a little bit smaller because we have got Chewbacca as 7 feet. And let's do Harrison Ford, and if we start to run out of time, which we are, I'm going to color it in, and that should, let me straighten that out, be enough time. I know Harrison Ford, there was quite a big age gap between the lead actors, and oops, I would say that he doesn't have that mouth. I loved his character. He was such a rogue, a scoundrel, a smuggler, and of course gets sucked into the whole resistance, falls in love, even though he tries not to, with the princess. I love the fact that she falls in love with him. He's a smuggler. It's such a great story, Star Wars. I think I was going to have his arm going up, but let's just keep him. I'm trying to remember. I know he wears a little waist jacket. I don't want it to look like he's shooting his mate, his best smuggling mate. Or maybe we can leave it like that. I don't know. Okay. So he wears this kind of waist jacket. Don't know what. I love how my sons, if you're wondering how I know so much about their outfits, is that I have 2 sons who absolutely love Star Wars, obviously, and they have this book that is full of uniform pictures. I'm just going to shrink him down a bit. So all the outfits, every single outfit that was ever made. So I think what happens when they make these movies is they have to obviously keep a record of who's wearing what. And so I love how he wears boots. And fortunately somebody came up with the idea of getting all the actors to really pose for that. So it just wasn't a category, and they had this amazing idea of making these books, which is what my boys have. And I think this comes down, and remember, it wasn't a shirt. Okay, how are we doing for time? So we got, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw in Jabba the Hutt, because he really is one of my favorites. Okay, and he won't take me long. I think he's got these beady red eyes. Just trying to remember. And that horrible mouth. I think he eats those characters, those little animals that squeal in cages, that he just eats. And of course we have to have him holding the lead or the chain of the princess. Okay, so let's just have that. He comes out somewhere around here. So I'm going to now colour that all in for you, but thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time. So look out for the colour version, and we'll be drawing for you live again tomorrow. See you then. Bye.